So, what is sociocultural theory? It is a theory of social formation of mind. It is not a theory, as it is sometimes believed to be, of social or cultural aspects of human existence. Rather, it's a theory that recognizes the role that interpersonal relationships and culturally constructed tools play in shaping human thinking. And at the center of this theory is Lev Vygotsky. Vygotsky was born in 1896 in the town of Orsha in Tsarist Russia to a middle-class Jewish family, and he died at a very young age in 1934. But he left a huge legacy in terms of the kind of writings he gave. He was interested in studying human consciousness and use of signs or symbols, something that was ignored by different branches of psychology at the time. He was interested in understanding human freedom, in the sense how human beings can subject their behavior to their own control. So there are some concepts that are key to the theory, and these are importance of speech, mediation, general law of cultural development, zone of proximal development, and concept formation. Starting with importance of speech. Vygotsky drew attention to the ways in which human beings use psychological tools, especially speech, in mediating their engagement with the world. He was interested in the dialogical interplay between the world and person, in the development of language, in its relation to thought. According to Vygotsky, communicative speech undergoes series of transformations and becomes inner speech. Let's take an example of talking to oneself. When talking to oneself, chances are that you are struggling with some kind of problem, or maybe you're trying to vent out your emotions, or trying to remember something. There is differing relationship between different psychological functions in the ways in which children think and in the way in which adults think. And this has been summarized by a very beautiful quote by Vygotsky. He states that, for the young child, to think means to recall, but for an adolescent, to recall means to think. What he means by this statement is that just as a clay or mold gives shape to a substance, words can shape an activity into a structure. However, this structure is not constant. It changes with different stages of development. So connections underlying words are fundamentally different in the child and in the adult. For the young child, the act of thinking involves concrete recollection of things rather than logical structure of the concepts. But for adolescents, this interfunctional relations involving memory reverses its direction. And at this stage, remembering means logical thinking. Next, we come to the concept of mediation. So you see the figure here. There are two figures here actually. Figure 1, which represents elementary forms of human thinking, and figure 2, which represents higher mental forms. The difference between elementary and higher mental forms lies in the type of relationship between subject and object. In elementary form, the relation between subject and object is unmediated. It is directed by impulse, determined by stimulation from the environment, and thereby follows the course of natural memory. On the other hand, relationship between subject and object in higher mental functions is mediated through the use of psychological tools or artificial stimulus, also known as artifacts. And these artifacts or psychological tools are introduced with some purpose or even have some kind of cultural need. So there are two things that come to the fore when we talk of mediation through the use of psychological tools. First, an individual is an active participant in development. And secondly, human beings use tools that are already available in their given context at a given time. Now, within this concept of development as mediated process, Vygotsky also proposes another concept of general law of cultural development. And through this concept, he tries to argue the primacy of social in human development. He states, every function in child's cultural development appears twice. First, on social level, and then on psychological level. So there is interpsychological, that is between people, and intrapsychological, which is in the mind. What he's trying to state here is, which you might have also heard in a very old maxim that states that human beings are social animals. So he's trying to argue the primacy of social. And in this social formation, he states that just as human beings are shaped, they also shape culture. So there is no dichotomy between social and individual in sociocultural theory. Vygotsky was also particularly interested in concept formation, in merging of scientific and spontaneous concepts. Now, when he uses the term scientific concepts, he refers to concepts that are introduced by a teacher in a school. These concepts are characterized by high degree of abstraction, generality, and their relationship to objects is mediated through other concepts. And hence, these scientific concepts are coherent and form logical hierarchical system. Spontaneous concepts, on the other hand, are acquired by a child outside contexts where explicit learning is taking place. So the purpose of instruction, according to Vygotsky, is to engage students with scientific concepts. Now, whether online or classroom teaching and learning situation, the purpose of instruction is to assist students in their learning of scientific concepts. According to Vygotsky, instruction must be structured or designed in a way that creates possibilities for development. For example, some form of assistance must be provided to students so that it allows transfer of control of knowledge from a teacher to the students, to the learner. And ZPD helps in creating that space that allows the learner to enter into the knowing of the other. And this other can be a teacher, more knowledgeable other, or peers or other students on the online platform, or other people on the online platform. So Vygotsky defines ZPD as the distance between the level of his actual developmental level as determined by independent problem solving and level of potential development as determined through problem solving under adult guidance or in collaboration with more capable peers. Hence, ZPD defines or makes explicit those cognitive functions that have not yet matured but are in the process of maturation. It describes a zone in which a child enters into interaction with more knowledgeable other. And the purpose of this interaction is to provide some sort of assistance to the child in solving problems that he or she is not able to solve independently yet, but will be able to solve in collaboration with others. And so what this means is that his or her cognitive functions are yet in embryonic stage and have not yet matured, but will mature tomorrow. So to summarize today's lecture, Vygotsky's account of human functioning or human thinking does not resort to determinism. It rather acknowledges that in the course of their development, human beings actively shape the forces that are active in shaping them. He was interested in development as mediated process. And this process involves both dialogical and dialectical interaction with the world and the person. In the end, I request you all to think about your interests and how you might relate these concepts with the world around you. Or think about some of the challenges that you come across in your understanding of these concepts. And finally, think about how in classroom teaching and learning situation or online teaching and learning situation, how these concepts might be useful. So that's it for this lecture. See you next time. Thank you very much.